Hello everyone, it's Deb of Deb Loves Jewelry. Welcome back to my channel. If you're already a subscriber, I'm so grateful for you being here. If you haven't yet subscribed, I'd love for you to subscribe. Either way, please hit that thumbs up for me and hit that reminder bell so that you can be reminded of any content that's added to the channel. Trying to build up my content and trying to do a little bit more long format content, so let me know what you think about that. Today, I'm going to talk to you about blinging up a piece that you may all have in your stash. So if you are a jewelry maker or maybe even an aspiring jewelry maker, you may have a tassel that looks like this in your stash. This is actually an all metal tassel. So these are all pieces of chain, and there's a metal cap over it. It's obviously all attached by a piece of wire, and there's a little jump ring up top. This came off of a necklace or maybe a handmade piece that someone made, but I've had this for a while. It's kind of been in a box of things, and I want to use this, but it feels a little drab, a little boring for me. So I want to show you a way that you can jazz something like this up. I believe that tassels are always in style. They've been very in style in the recent years, and we can still wear them, still keep them alive. And we're gonna bling this one up. So this bead cap portion of the tassel is just a blank canvas for us to embellish or bling, so to speak, with a little bit of rhinestone or rhinestone cup chain. And I've got this beautiful rhinestone chain that I've had for some time. It's a very small cup chain. So some cup chain can be very, very big. I'll give you some perspective of what it looks like on the wrist. It would make a very dainty rhinestone bracelet, but it's absolutely perfect for a project like this. So we're actually going to add rhinestone cup chain to this tassel. And this tassel cap is going to be very lovely, and it's going to breathe some new life into this piece. So the first thing I like to do when I'm working on something like this is I need to cover my workspace. So we're gonna be using glue. So I've got a piece of cardboard here. I hold on to cardboard pieces for this kind of thing. And this will protect my workspace from any glue spills or anything like that. And I'm gonna grab some toothpicks, just some run-of-the-mill basic toothpicks. And I'm going to be using some E6000 glue. This is very commonly used in jewelry making projects. It's an industrial strength adhesive. It does have fumes, and it can be kind of difficult to get off of other surfaces. So you do want to protect your workspace. And if you are worried about your hands, you can wear gloves. And you can also work in a well-ventilated area or run a fan in your workspace. That will help very much. But don't be afraid of this. This is great glue. This is a really standard glue to have around for lots of different jewelry making projects. And just as an FYI, this is a very small tube. This is a 8.18 fluid ounces or 5.3 milliliters. It's small, and you can buy this little one in like a 5-pack. The E6000 comes also in very large tubes. I would not recommend buying the large tube unless you're going to do a lot of this kind of thing, or you've got a lot of glue related projects. This stuff dries so fast in the packaging and hardens up, and you throw out this whole big tube. So I buy these smaller ones. I sometimes have to throw these out as well, but at least I don't feel as guilty opening up, a big tube again after I just threw one out. So That's just a word to the wise on E6000. And what I'd like to do next is, whether you've got a very long piece or a short piece of this chain, I like to not cut anything just yet. And I like to get a sense of how many links or how many cups I'm going to need for the circumference of this little cap. And I just kind of hold the cup chain around it loosely to make sure that it's going to serve my purpose. And by the way, as a little bit of education on cup chain, so they call it cup chain because of this little metal finding it's all connected, but they're all like these little metal cups holding a rhinestone. Each one of them has an individual setting of a rhinestone, and so it looks like little cups. So some people will call it cup chain, some people will call it rhinestone chain, some people will just call it chain. So you can test out the circumference of this, and you can see how many you might need. Now, I'm always a fan of cutting a little bit more than less, because you just don't know sometimes until you actually get it situated on your project if it's going to work. So I've cut this piece. I think it's actually about 1 cup too big. And I'll show you another thing about the cup chain. So if you see, so sometimes when you cut the chain, you'll find the little connector piece will hang out. So I like to cut my cup chain with my chain hanging downwards, so the little connector piece will drop out and I can snip that off as well. This chain in particular, for me, is a little bit less likely to do that. I don't know why, maybe because of the size of it, but I want to use probably 3 rounds, 3 pieces of this chain to get it to cover the entire space of this cap. So I'm going to cut 3 pieces all the same size. So what you'll want to do is hold on to your first piece, and I like to hang it downwards when I cut it, because then that little piece in between the cups is actually going to stretch out and actually reveal, the correct length that you need. So now I've got my 2 pieces, and then you don't have to hold the other 2. You can simply use 1 for your guide. And I'm gonna snip that off. And so now I've got 3 of the same length pieces. And if you want to, you can actually count them to make sure that they're all the same length. That's another tactic, is you can count them out to make sure that they are all, the same length. And I actually am seeing that this last one here that I cut is 1 cup longer than it needs to be. So I'm going to snip that off. And now I've got 3 pieces. Now I'm going to hold on to this extra piece. Sometimes if you have a project where you're using cup chain and you accidentally cut one too short, or maybe you find that what you're covering has an awkward shape, or, you just need an extra piece in a pinch. I've got an intact cup with a rhinestone in it. So I always hold on to my extras and, pieces that are cut because you never know when you might be able to use that extra. So I've now got 3 pieces that I think will work nicely for covering up and blinging up our little tassel cap here. So another tip for E6000, E6000 is stringy. So I will swipe it onto my cardboard. You could use a piece of plastic if you're more comfortable with that. But you need to use fast and sweeping movements so that you don't end up with lots of strings. So what I'm going to do to get started is I'm just going to get some glue around the surface of the center of this cap. And this glue dries pretty fast. So I want to move quickly here and get my surface space covered. I don't want to add too much. So when I'm putting this on, I'm actually going to spread it a little bit so that I can get it over the entire space. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my first piece of chain on, and it should grab on to that glue pretty nicely. Now look, I may have cut that one piece just one too many short. So now I have that extra piece, and as you can see, I was able to fill in that spot. So now I'm going to drop on my next piece. And you've got some time to manipulate this a little bit, but I'm putting those little strands of cup chain right next to each other. And guess what, guys? I'm short on all of them. But we'll remedy that in a second. I want to focus right now on getting the pieces on and getting those situated. Now, interestingly enough, I didn't get all of the glue on just all the way around that bottom section. So because of that, I'm going to take a quick pause and I'm going to come over and grab, I've actually got a little extra piece of cup chain here. And I'm going to snip off an extra cup. Oops. Now in this case, I managed to get one of them a little mangled. But here, oh, you can almost see what I was talking about earlier. I've got that little connector peeking out there. So I want to cut that off if I can. It's going to be a little hard with this, this piece being just so low like that. Oh, I got it. Okay, so I snipped that off. I'm going to get in with my toothpick. Got my glue there is still pretty good, but I probably won't be able to use the rest of that glue. It'll be dry by the time I need it again. All right, so now I popped that little single in there, and I've got 2 rows that are looking pretty darn good. Look at that. See, it changes the whole vibe of this tassel. So I'm going to grab another little dab of glue, swiped it onto my space, and you can also kind of wipe off your toothpick and reuse that. Now see, I've got a little bit of stringiness there. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to get some glue around that bottom section because I've got just enough space there. And what's cool is this tassel, the way that it's made, is allowing me to hold on to it pretty easily. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to drop that on. And I suspect I'm going to need a little solo piece of, yeah, I am going to need another little single. And so I'm going to grab my extra piece here and gonna cut off one little piece, and I see my little tabby piece sticking out. So I'll see if I can get that guy. I don't know if I can. We're gonna try. Yeah, I think I got it pretty good. And I think my glue is still gonna be good there. So I'm gonna push that together. Got my solo piece in there, and you really can't see, that, that it's a single. There's continuity of this all the way around. So this is great. This was super easy. So if you apply the glue, kind of, a thin layer of it all the way around your cap, you can essentially just lay down that piece. It just kind of grabs on, and then you can press it around. This glue will dry pretty fast, like it does if it's on another surface, but I would definitely let this guy dry for like 12 hours or so before you wear it or before you start working with it aggressively. If you're gonna be, playing around with putting something onto the ends of your chain pieces maybe, you'll wanna wait until this is really good and dry. So see, look at that. That's super fun. And I would also, just as a suggestion, anytime I find a piece that I know came off of a piece of jewelry that was, pre-owned or something, I will always replace the jump ring. I'm not going to do it right now because this is has fresh glue on it, but I will definitely take this off. I may not even use the jump ring, just depends on how I use this tassel. But I will definitely get rid of the old jump ring and use a new jump ring so that, it will be a nice, good, new jump ring for a secure closure and attachment. So that's our fun blinging out a tassel. Grab one of these from your stash, guys. I know you longtime jewelry makers especially probably have one or two of these. They come in different sizes. So you may have a smaller one, but just grab one of those, grab some rhinestone cup chain, and make yourself a blinged out tassel. And let me know in the comments if you've ever done this, if you've ever tried this, if you are going to try this. And like I said, you can do some additional things with your chain, maybe add some beads to the bottom of your pieces of chain. Something very fun. So thank you guys so much for watching. You can always share this video, but I'd love for you to like the video. And if you haven't yet subscribed, as I said, I'd love to have you join me. So thanks so much for being here. I'm Deb of Deb Loves Jewelry, and I'll see you again soon for some new jewelry making content. Have a great day.